weddings.
Just the idea of weddings in general? Or is the sin for seeing a wedding in a movie? Some more detail would be nice, so no points.
Oh, leave me a message. Or don't. Well, do me a favor. Don't text me. It's gay.
Ha! If you leave Phil a text message, it's quote-unquote gay. Phil's hilarious. I sometimes call him when I know he can't answer, just to leave a voicemail, just to tell him how much I want to make love to him for that epic text messaging takedown.
I assume your point is that Phil's use of the word gay is not nice for the current year? Sure, it's not the funniest joke in the film, but it's definitely not a sin for a character to use words you don't like.
Also, Bradley Cooper plays a douchebag in every movie he's in until he co-stars with Jennifer Lawrence cliché.
Is that really a cliché? And if it is it really a sin for Bradley Cooper to play an asshole? I don't think so.
And you never walk away from the table when you're on a heater.
You do if you're getting married.
Dude, we have all the context we need to know that this is a bride waiting on her groom, so this expositional bickering isn't accomplishing anything, except for making me look at Jeffrey Tambor wearing like 3 shirts and no pants.
No, I'd say it accomplishes some characterization for Jeffrey Tambor's character, with his comments and thoughts on Vegas. He's saying a winning streak is more important than your commitments to a marriage. Also, he's dressed for playing tennis. This is what old people who play tennis wear, a polo top, shorts, and one of those sports jackets.
Also, wearing your watch on the inside of your wrist. The is that, man? Who are you trying to impress? Are you trying to disrupt the concept of telling time or some bull?
So, as you see, he's reading. Wearing your watch on the inside of your wrist makes it easier to tell the time when holding a book. Also, I'm surprised you did not sin his character for reading, as that was something you had a problem with in Lord of the Rings.
We're getting married in 5 hours.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Seriously, who the schedules the bachelor party for essentially the night before the wedding anymore? That is some freshman rookie level bull. And Phil's married, so he should know better.
It does seem to be a movie trope for bachelor parties to be really close to the wedding, but I don't know that that's not based in reality, so I'm not going to give you that point.
Also, starting your movie 3/4 of the way through, so you can do a "you're probably wondering how we got here" cliché.
No, that's not a sin.
Guess what we're sinning? The Rio.
6 sins for the Rio? So I googled the Rio, and it doesn't have the best ratings. Is that worth 6 sins? Or is it really 5 sins for Trump Tower and 1 sin for the Rio? Sinning the Hangover for showing you the word Trump seems a bit embarrassing.
They're getting measured for the tuxedos 2 days in advance? What is this, a shotgun wedding or something, where everything has to happen super quickly? And does anything about this family scream that they would leave standard wedding preparation until the last minute?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It does seem odd to leave it so late. Unless, of course, it's just the final adjustments, but I don't know, I think I will give you the point, so you're 1 for 14.
Zach Galifianakis.
Is it a sin to see nudity? Just because Zach Galifianakis' ass disgusts you doesn't make it a sin. I guess that's the point of the scene, to disgust you. So is the real sin about the film using a cheap tactic of showing you a fat man's ass to make you laugh or recoil? I still don't think it's worth a point, though.
I don't care what happens. I don't care if we kill someone.
What?
Movie comes dangerously close to turning into very bad things, and that would be, well, a tremendously poor event.
This scene reminds me of another movie. No sin.
You gotta love how this Mercedes product placement also includes a banner, just in case you couldn't figure out what make this car was.
Is it purely product placement? I have friends and relatives who are really into cars and have the banners of their favorites hanging in their garages. So if it is just product placement, then it's done in a believable manner, but it is arguable that it's a character choice.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Except ironically, the movie What Happens in Vegas. That's an example of that should have stayed there and didn't.
Not a sin for the Hangover.
Whenever you're committing a crime with your students' field trip money, it's important for you to pull out a big envelope that says Vegas on it and remove all the cash inside for some reason while inside the classroom.
But all of his students have left. And if someone were to enter, why would their immediate thoughts be that Phil is stealing?
Also, Jackson, Maine is charging them $90 goddamn for a trip to the Griffith Observatory? Even a cursory Google search will tell you that's free, and the planetarium is only $5. I could maybe buy that the students are this dense, but the parents that forked over this cash fell for it too? All of them?
What about like fees for hiring transportation? I suppose Phil is the lovable rogue type of character, so could that element explain it? Or maybe it is worth a point. Though I'm not sure if I will give it to you. No, I don't think I will.
After all this public criming, this asshole sticks all the envelopes inside his bag anyway, and then he folds an exposed amount of cash in his right hand as he leaves the classroom. How has this guy not been caught already?
But nobody knows he's stealing, and why would anyone assume so? We know of his criminality, but we have no evidence of anyone else knowing.
I'm not supposed to be within 200 feet of a school. What? Or Chuck E. Cheese.
Haha, and Alan is a sex offender. I can't wait to root for these characters when they get in deep during their fun Vegas trip. They seem like really awesome people who deserve the best.
I'm not sure you're supposed to root for Alan yet, anyway. And your complaints of these jokes are making me worried.
Also, why is Doug in the pickup line for the students, especially right by the front door? He really should be more than 200 feet away from the school in the faculty parking lot or something.
Maybe, but look, there are other teachers leaving through the front door. So, no sin.
And don't forget to use it. I can totally tell when you forget your hair just looks thinner.
Here's funny actress Rachel Harris being reduced to playing an unfunny asshole for her mercifully brief screen time. If you're gonna hire someone like her, maybe give her something funny to do. Just a suggestion.
It's not a sin for an actress to play a different role than usual.
Also, one of my favorite parts of this movie is how much likability and agency they give the female characters. I mean, you can really tell that the filmmakers just get women, you know?
So, a movie's not allowed to have female characters who aren't nice? Also, are you subtly trying to imply that Todd Phillips hates women or something? Have you heard of a little film called Joker?
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Paging Dr.
You know, Todd Phillips is right. In this woke culture, how can we tell a joke as funny as this anymore? This bit where Stu says his friends are mature and that notion immediately gets shot down when he's called a homophobic slur couldn't have worked any other way. There's no other thing these friends could have said or done to make that joke work.
So, I know you're being sarcastic, but you are unironically correct. The joke is funny, and your passive aggressiveness proves why it would not be made today. It's not only funny because of the F-slur, it's also because of the doctor element, as Stu constantly introduces himself as a doctor, yet he's only a dentist, as Phil is fond to remind him. And also there's the added element of his fiancée calling him an F-slur to his face. I have a bad feeling about your future sins in relation to the comedy, especially after this.
Roll crap.
No sin.
I know they're going to Vegas, but do open container laws not apply here?
No, it's not a sin to depict characters committing a crime.
You want to explain it to them, Alan? Guys, my dad loves this car more than he loves me, so yeah.
Is Alan named after Alan Ruck from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Because it sounds like the same situation Alan Ruck had in that movie. They go on and on about this car throughout the movie, but by the end, the condition of the car doesn't matter at all. In fact, it's completely forgotten.
No, actually, the car's condition is a constant worry, but it's alleviated by Jeffrey Tambor gifting the car to Doug, so now Doug can have it repaired before Jeffrey Tambor sees it. You should pay more attention to the film.
Am I right over there, Alan? Yeah, you're good.
Why the would you trust Alan's judgment on whether there's a car in the lane you're merging into? Have they operated like this the whole way? How are they not dead already?
So, or maybe Alan's been trustworthy until this point in the trip. Maybe that's the point. You know, he tells the truth until now just for this joke, I guess. No points for you.
Also, who doesn't at least sense that there's a giant semi-truck in the next lane? Especially in a fucking convertible. I know there's no passenger side mirror on the 300 SE, but you're not Batman, and your head does fucking turn.
So, yes, I will give you that. Trucks are really loud on the freeway. You're 2 for 31.
You can't go to Vegas, but she can a bellhop on a Carnival cruise line.
Let's see, how many cliches can we knock out here? Expositional arguing, check. Inappropriate conversation in front of a complete stranger because boys will be boys, got it. Eating snacks in line to purchase snacks to further show that your character's a huge butthole, bingo!
No sin for Phil to be an asshole. Characters are allowed to be assholes. You can't really take issue with the film for depicting a character not being nice. Though you did do that in Lord of the Rings with Theoden. so I guess it is on brand for you. Still, no points.
Dr. Price? Stu, you're a dentist.
Phil and Stu are pretty good buddies, for some reason. So how has this not come up in conversation before?
But it clearly has come up before. Remember the paging Dr. F-slur joke? It seems to be a common occurrence of Phil correcting Stu about his dentistry.
First off, what is taking Stu so long to get ready? Sure, he's talking to Karen or whatever her name is, but he also just got out of the shower.
But his hair seems dry, so it's safe to assume he's been on the phone for a while.
Second off, what kind of friends are these that walk into your bedroom unannounced while you're getting dressed? If anyone should be giving attitude, it should be Stu.
Well, clearly Doug and Phil think Stu is ready. Why wouldn't they walk in unannounced? They're both fully dressed and ready to go. In their minds, surely they've given Stu ample time to be ready.
She beats him. That was twice, and I was out of line.
Swear to God, I'm getting sick of the crass and clueless that passes for humor in this movie, so I'm gonna add 20 cents here to cover it. Doesn't mean I definitely won't go to this well again, but I think 20 covers us so far.
Crass and clueless? So, is a male character not allowed to be hit by a woman, or is it that domestic violence is used for a joke? Either way, definitely no points. In fact, it worsens your ratio. You were 2 for 34, now you're 2 for 54.
He's in denial. Not to mention she f***ed a sailor.
Hey, he wasn't a sailor. He was a bartender on a cruise ship, you know that.
Yeah, didn't you guys just talk about this? You guys are acting like there wasn't a whole scene in a gas station just before the Kanye West and T.I. Rihanna songs transported us to Vegas. We get it. Stu's girlfriend is awful.
Well, they didn't just talk about it. There's been 6 minutes of movie and about, 6 hours of in-world time?
Guys, I'm standing right here so I can hear everything that you're saying.
Phil just blatantly said this to you at the gas station 6 minutes ago.
Yes, because as you've said, Phil is an asshole. It's not a sin for things to be repeated.
Ooh, let the dogs out. Ooh, ooh.
From there, the movie uses this as an excuse to play that goddamn song during this hallway scene. I hope spending the money to play this overplayed song yet again for something so trivial was worth it, assholes.
I love how annoyed you're getting. No points.
You're not really wearing that, are you?
Wearing what?
The man purse.
Oh sure, the man purse is what sucks about Alan's ensemble. Not the undersized shirt with the head on it and the trees growing out of it. It's the man purse that's objectionable.
I'm surprised you don't mention the white pants or the other plastic bag when he already has his satchel. No sin.
We're going up, guys.
You were clearly just going down.
No points.
Also, Todd Phillips plays a smarmy asshole in his own movie cliche.
Is that a cliche? Does Todd Phillips star in all his films? Was Todd Phillips in The Joker? I don't think he was. Was he?
Also, even though going up is a total surprise to the rest of the wolf pack, it is pretty clear that Phil pressed the up button a minute ago. But nobody noticed that? You know for a fact Stu would have noticed that and asked him why he pressed the up button.
No, so... Where is it? Oh, here we go. Yes, perfect. So, as Phil hits the button, Stu's vision is blocked by Doug. So Stu can't actually see Phil hit the button. Yeah, we can do it this way, see? Doug blocks Stu's vision. And he's still blocking it there, and Stu doesn't even look at the button he pressed anyway. So, yeah, no sin.
Look at the view up here.
Okay, look, it's nice and all, but didn't they have a very similar view from their villa just a few floors down? I'm not saying it's not cool, I'm just saying this is a total overreaction.
Disagree. From the roof, they have a full and instant 360-degree view of Vegas, and they don't have that capability from their room. It's similar, but I don't think it is an overreaction. So no sin.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Jägermeister.
Yeah, no points.
I know the movie has to go over the top with the debauchery last night, but there's no way in hell they did this much damage to the villa. Hell, the trip to Mike Tyson's house alone would have taken up a significant chunk of the night, let alone the strip club and all the other. I'm not saying they couldn't get super wild, but I am saying the props department wanted their moment to shine in this shot regardless of the believability.
Well, isn't that the point? That the night was so crazy and unbelievable? The point is for all this to look absolutely insane, right? So, no points.
So wait, everybody set up the champagne bottles to be knocked down, but nobody tried to bowl them over? Even if someone threw a gutter ball, those champagne bottles were getting knocked down one way or another.
Well, look, there's the bowling ball there, right? And we don't know they weren't used. They could have just been set up again afterward. Or indeed they were so drunk the bowling ball hit here and wasn't used again. I guess it is odd that no one kicked them over as they left, but I don't think you get a point for that coincidence.
Jesus, for a party that was clearly out of control due to alcohol and hard drugs, they sure drank a ton of Monster during this thing.
Well, you know there are cocktails that use energy drinks, or partygoers could have woken up and drunk them before they left, perhaps? I think there's plausible reason for them to be all over the place.
Also, that's a load of balls that someone completely whacked out of their mind somehow stacked in a neat pyramid. It makes one wonder, was the crazy party the result of roofie lace mayhem, or was it the overconsumption of energy drinks?
Is that, that's just a joke, isn't it? So, no points again.
Okay, look, we find out later that they stole this tiger from Mike Tyson. Thankfully, he's tame enough that he didn't eat anybody. And how did they get a tiger through the Caesar's lobby? Not only that, but they used a valet. So, did they take the tiger out and just sneak it past 100 people and onto an elevator?
I think that's... yeah, I reckon that's another point for you. 3 for 68.
Hey, bro, you mind putting on some pants? I find it a little weird I have to ask twice.
Of all the that's going on right now, this is what Phil finds a little weird.
Unironically, yes. Completely reasonable.
Hey, Phil, am I missing a tooth?
You'd think years of being a dentist and sticking your tongue in the place where your tooth should be would be enough confirmation, but I guess this maxes out the comic tension for your audience.
Well, he is hungover. Questioning the missing tooth is believable.
I know Phil is up and everything, but how does he not notice the hospital bracelet he's been wearing all morning? This mystery is somehow dumber than the one in Dude, Where's My Car?
Again, no, I think the raging hangover makes his lack of perception believable.
After the Hard Rock, I blacked out. It was like emptiness.
Okay, so we're being assholes to this movie, but Zach Galifianakis is really great, infusing an annoying character with some truly funny moments.
A sin retraction. Okay. Weird though, you never had any sin retractions for The Lord of the Rings.
Doug could be in the hospital, he could be hurt.
Yeah, but why do they have to go to the hospital at all? They have the information on the bracelet, so they could save a trip, call over to see about the problem, bada bing, bada boom, mystery solved.
I guess they could ring the hospital, but could it be argued that their hangover is affecting their judgment? Maybe a point. I don't know, there's a fair few maybes. No, I'll just say no for now.
Also, speaking of wasting time, the are they planning to do about the villa? Checkout time at Caesars is 11 a.m., and they were only staying one night. Phil said they woke up at 10, then they found all the in the suite, went to the pool for brunch, and now they're getting the car from the valet. So they should already be late. Housekeeping should already be in the suite, and the hotel kicking them out in short order.
Yes, the timeline seems a little odd. So I think you're right. I think I'll give you that one. So 4 for 72.
Is that the mattress from Doug's room?
Alan can spot that particular mattress from this far away? Sure, it's possible he put 2 and 2 together since the mattress was missing from his bedroom, but does anything about this character make you think he would?
As you said, Alan was the one to mention the missing mattress. I think it's plausible he'd remember. And also because you've already used later examples from the film, I think the fact that he's a genius at counting cards could also explain this.
Also, it's a good thing that Doug has superhuman strength, with the ability to throw a mattress off the roof of Caesar's Palace onto this statue near the valet parking. Otherwise, this movie can't have its Dr. House moment later.
I'm not sure. I think the comedic element of the mattress on the statue does not make it worthy of a sin. Now, is there a shot of how far away the mattress is? Or is it plausible that it bounced off of some other outlying part of the hotel?
She may have an amazing rack, but she clearly has no spatial awareness, considering she just casually strolled right in front of this moving police car.
Yes, I think that's correct again. But is it worthy of a sin? No, I think not.
I already told you. He came in here with a mild concussion, some bruised ribs, no big deal.
Sure, doctors routinely let former patients and their buddies not only walk into the clinic, but into the exam room during an active checkup. If I was this poor bastard, I'd sue their dicks off.
Well, clearly from the way the old guy's behaving, he doesn't mind. I'm sure they would have his permission for this. Do you really need that as a scene? Them asking the old guy if they can stand in while he's being examined? Surely then you just complain about a wasted scene and say his acceptance of them watching him be examined is implied. So, no sin.
Okay, here we go. Patient named Phil Wennick.
Phil just paid God knows what for his doctor to go over his chart with him, when he could have easily gotten that information for free.
But the money is for the doctor's time. As he says, he has surgery to perform now. And also Phil wants the information from this specific doctor because he treated them the night before. That's why. It's not just about the information in his chart, it's because this doctor treated him.
Best little chapel, you know where that is?
I do. It's at the corner of Get a Map and Off.
Dr. Veep is clearly a terrible physician, but he'd be excellent at Cinemasins.
Isn't that a good thing for you? Why is it a sin and not a sin retraction?
What to do with the baby? My guess is you just didn't have the baby during the shoot that day, because if Alan has one of those special harnesses, why would taking the baby inside the chapel be that big of a problem?
That's a good point. I'll give you that. 5 for 79.
You don't remember nothing.
It's funny how everyone reacts in complete shock when they hear the guys don't remember what happened last night. People black out from regularly drinking in like Topeka every night. This is Vegas, and everyone can clearly see how up these guys were last night. Hell, I'd be surprised if they did remember something, considering the description of their condition.
Yeah, but they got married. I think Eddie's reaction is authentic. If the groom and his best men remembered nothing about an entire wedding, that would surprise you, surely.
I'm a school teacher. I got a family, okay? I'm all for secrecy, but I'm not gonna torch a cop car.
When did Phil become a model of stability after he's been talking everyone into breaking the law from the beginning of this trip? Torching a cop car is the line that he can't cross because he's a school teacher?
Yes, that's believable. No sin.
How did these assholes know to go to the chapel to find Phil and everybody? Were they just driving around hoping the people they're pissed off at were out and about and got lucky?
Yeah, that is really convenient. Worthy of a point, though? Another maybe.
Where is he? When questioning your subject, it's best to start with the pronoun game to maximize the confusion and thus knock him off his game.
I mean, it is convenient he's not naming Chow. Is it though? Or is it... Again, a maybe. But I don't know if they're worthy of sin. No, actually, no, this is a no.
What the is going on?
Roughly 90% of Ed Helms' post-hangover dialogue is some derivative of what's going on.
No, I don't believe you, actually.
We call this place Loserville.
What are these kids even doing here? Can't be a school trip because Phil clearly said
the weekend, Budnick,
when he left yesterday. So these kids are just volunteering en masse to come to tour the police station on a Saturday?
It could be a school trip or some other daycare-esque excursion, like Saturday school or some local scouts group or something. I don't think it's sin-worthy.
You want to stay an extra night? But the wedding's tomorrow.
I guess Tracy is the most complex female character in this movie, but all she does is mildly question the idea of her fiancé staying in Las Goddamn Vegas until the morning of their f***ing wedding day. Girl power!
What about Heather Graham's character? Does she not have agency? Also, why is it a problem for a film not to have any main female characters? Would you make this same complaint about Saving Private Ryan?
The good news is we found your Mercedes. We picked it up at 5 a.m. this morning.
So if you had the Mercedes, then you knew who owned it. Then there would be a phone call to Jeffrey Tambor, who would have told you all the people he knew who were in Vegas, and you would have found out Stu's credit card was registered at Caesar's Palace, and why did it take you so long to arrest these assholes?
So you must not have watched many police shows, otherwise you'd know information gathering is not always instant. Do you really think the cops who found the Mercedes would instantly ring up Jeffrey Tambor, or would they wait till a more appropriate time? I think that timing on everything is believable, so no points.
Look, the point is, I think we can work out a deal discreetly, of course, man.
B. Coop offers a deal to these cops, and not only does it works immediately.
Yes, it's lucky, but again, remember, he's the lovable rogue type. It makes sense for his established character. Not worthy of a sin, I don't think.
See, it's funnier because it's in the balls. Get it? Get it? Balls! Balls are funny! Laugh, you puppets! Balls!
I mean, it is funnier that it's in the balls, but I think you're overreacting a bit.
Boy, sure is awesome that nobody fears a lawsuit in this world. A bunch of dudes can just steal a cop car and then go free after getting punished by a bunch of school children. I can't see anything that could possibly go wrong during any part of the scenario because, as we all know, anything justifies a comedic solution to a problem.
Yes, you're right. This is very unethical, but... is it worthy of a sin, though? I think not.
In the face! In the face!
With this line, Todd Phillips creates something even more annoying for frat boys to shout at parties than "it's so good once it hits your lips."
No sin. Also, how many frat parties have you been to since after this released?
You see? It's gonna be alright.
Any positive reinforcement this early in the movie is a definite penalty for premature celebration.
Yes, but is that a sin? You could have made a character says it's going to be alright when it clearly won't be a cliche comment, and you would have been correct in this instance. So it's weird that you didn't.
Of all the unsolved mysteries, I'd like to know who was screwing in this car last night, and they go to great pains to show that Mr. Chow is not well endowed, so who filled this Magnum up?
Do you really want to know? Is it really a sin for the movie not showing you?
Oh, come on. This car was impounded. You don't think the cops would have checked the trunk? Are you serious?
So do cops check the trunk of impounded vehicles? Do they need a warrant, or are impounded cars fair game?
Also, he's been in this trunk for what, 16 hours or so? In hot-ass Las Vegas? How'd he survive that?
He's also not dripping with sweat, but I guess you didn't notice that. I think you're correct that Chow should be dead from exposure, but I'm not sure about the trunk checking, and I don't give half points, so thinking no sin.
You gonna on me? Nobody's gonna on you!
Jesus. I gotta be honest and say this is the funniest movie I ever hated.
Well, that's nice. 2 whole sin retractions. And Lord of the Rings had none.
Last night on the roof, before we went out, I slipped something in our Jägermeister.
I know it's hard for Alan to admit this, but if he were going to, it would have been well before now.
Really? Are you now an expert in Alan's character?
Also, by the way, much like how Ambien doesn't cause racism, roofies aren't known to make people try to tigers, marry hookers, and kidnap Asian kingpins.
Nobody said it did. Have any of the characters blamed their actions on the drugs? No, they've been blaming their actions on the booze.
These assholes made a ton of noise coming in here. Now I know that In the Air Tonight is a loud rocking song, but it's not that loud and rocking or a song.
First off, the song is loud in the scene. Second, it's safe to assume the volume was toned down for the sake of the audience. Is it a sin for the audio to be balanced?
How did Tyson even know they would come back here? Has he seriously been sitting here waiting all day in the hopes that the tiger nappers would show up and be willing to return it, just if he punched on them? Hell, at this point, they haven't even looked at the security footage.
Is it really that questionable that Mike Tyson has been waiting for them for, what, maybe an hour or two? It could be a convenience, but worthy of a sin?
Also, of all the Alan's been hit with today, this deserves the biggest he survives this.
So Alan should have died? Surely Mike Tyson is professional enough to know not to murder some stranger. Like, if Alan did die, then that would be murder. In a room of witnesses.
That's Doug's? Yeah, Doug. His wallet and his room key is in there.
Just because Doug's wallet and room key were in the jacket doesn't mean that Mike Tyson and his bodyguard could find out what room they're in. He didn't pay for anything at this hotel, so even if they went to a really loose-lipped concierge, they wouldn't have been able to tell them what room he was in. Electronic key cards don't usually have a room number on it, and anyone who's ever forgotten their room number coming back from eating 2 bowls of Skyline chili knows this very well.
But do the Caesar's Palace villa keys not have room numbers? I think it's plausible the villa keys have something special about them, or at least that Mike Tyson's bodyguard got the room information from some hotel worker, because you'd take the key card to the front desk, not Doug's wallet. Surely the key card alone is enough to get the relevant information. It has nothing to do with Doug spending money, it's about the information already registered on the key card. Because staff would know which room the key card belonged to if they swiped it through their system or whatever. It's weird that you don't consider that as an option, so definitely no sin.
You think this hungry tiger wouldn't already be at the door after smelling that steak? I don't care how tame he is, that would have gone crazy.
So I googled about tigers' sense of smell, but a tiger's sense of smell supposedly is not used for hunting because it's not as strong as their other senses. So I'm not sure if the tiger would be so ravenous at the smell of steak, because I'm not sure if the tiger would even smell the steak through the door. So I'm not going to give you that either.
Unless Stu had to walk through a freezer to get to the bathroom, there's no way that steak is the same as that one.
Yes, that steak is indeed rigid. Is that sin-worthy? Yeah, actually, I think that does, I guess, what would you call it? Continuity, bad, proper, whatever. I'll give you a point. 6 out of 101.
Sure is amazing that neither Stu's ultra-paranoid girlfriend nor Doug's at least semi-suspicious fiancé have even tried to call since they left the wedding chapel. Was Phil's story about being comped an extra night that convincing?
Yes, seemingly it was. Is it really sin-worthy that no one else has called yet? I don't think so.
So, if you guys know if there's gonna...
The very idea that this same thing didn't happen during their blackout is a bunch of bull.
Is it though? We don't know how they lured the tiger into the car. It could have been friendly for the journey. We don't know. I mean, how aggressive do tame tigers get? Is it a sin? It's definitely another maybe. No, I'm not going to give you that one.
Damn, this bus driver's committed to getting to the next stop on time. He also knows his supervisor would never believe he was hit by a driver of a vintage Mercedes being attacked by a tiger. Why, that would sound as absurd as having your clearance sign stolen by a group of street toughs that went on to assault you in an alley.
So, is the sin that the bus driver did not stop? And what's with the Joker comparisons? So you have seen Joker, and you still think Todd Phillips hates women and chooses to write them poorly?
Man, this security footage can frame, zoom, enhance, and edit like a champ, despite being in black and white and looking like a student film that was run over by a lawnmower.
Well, isn't it just from different angles, like from different cameras? And wasn't it edited for their benefit already? Wasn't that the point? Or is someone manually switching between the cameras to show them all the shots? I don't think that's a sin.
Hey, wait, man, where you get that cop car from?
We, stole it from these dumbass cops.
The Mercedes was found by the cops at 5 a.m., when presumably these guys stole a cop car from the cops who were impounding the Mercedes. The valet ticket back at Caesars says they got back at 5:15. When did they have time to go to Mike Tyson's place, steal a tiger, and bring it back, especially since the bodyguard told them it was a 40-minute drive? Even if we believe they left the Mercedes in the middle of Las Vegas Boulevard an hour earlier than that, if we're being charitable, they still couldn't have made that drive. Remember, also, that Phil was in the hospital at 2:45 a.m., so they somehow left the hospital, went to Tyson's place, stole a cop car, stole a tiger, and got back to Caesars by 5:15.
Yes. Also, you're wrong to assume they stole the cop car at the exact time the Mercedes was found, because why would the cops just stand around the Mercedes as their squad car was stolen right in front of their eyes? There's no evidence that the cop car was stolen at 5 a.m. exactly. There's no evidence to say that the cop car was stolen when the Mercedes was found. That's a weird thing to jump to, and just to assume without any evidence.
You know, I just have to say, I have never seen a more beautiful, elegant, just regal creature.
Check it out, this tiger.
Sometimes the simple things in life deserve a sin-off.
That's 3 sin retractions. And remember, Lord of the Rings had none.
I got a guy in LA who's great with interior.
Jeez, these gangster guys sure do find the cars they want to find whenever they're driving at any given time of the day.
Yeah, you know what? I think the second time I will give you the point of that coincidence. You're 7 for 106.
Also, are we supposed to believe there was this big collision in the middle of Las Vegas and no cops came to check it out?
Well, the scene only lasts a couple of minutes. I think it's 3 minutes exactly. So maybe cops do arrive later. I'm not sure. What's the average response time for cops in Vegas? I don't think that's a sin.
Well, apparently, you guys met at a craps table late last night.
So if Phil and the gang stole this guy's money, how the did they manage to drive around Vegas for hours without these guys finding them? Because they've found them twice with no effort so far. Why would there have been a problem earlier?
Yeah, you already had a point for the coincidence of them being found. You don't get a point for them not being found.
Why, when I come after you guys, he starts screaming like crazy and throw me in trunk?
Did he also strip you down completely naked? Or was that a byproduct of the heat? Seriously, how did you survive that, man?
Yes, I said you were right about the heat, but you don't get a point for mentioning it again.
Also, man, it's really weird hearing Ken Jeong speak in this outrageous stereotypical accent after hearing him in stuff like Knocked Up and Community.
It's called acting, not a sin. Some of your sins have been weird. Like this actress is playing a mean character. Sin. Or this actor is using an accent. Sin. I noticed you didn't call out, Eddie's actor for using an accent.
Punching your poultry!
No points.
So you're telling me these 3, after all they've been through today, hatched this plan, recruited Jade, brought her up to speed, and found this table at this place and time, and it worked?
Yes, because of the foreshadowed card counting. And card counting was not invented for this movie, so no points.
I can't explain it, but Phil flipping off the security cameras while Alan destroys the blackjack table is awesome. I mean, he and Alan would probably be taken to a back room with Alec Baldwin and get beat with a baseball bat, but there's something so brazen about this you have to respect it and laugh. I think I'll remove a sin.
The 4th sin retraction. I'm gonna keep bringing this up, but Lord of the Rings had no sin retractions for the entire trilogy. Earlier you said this was the best movie you've hated, and I've been informed that you supposedly love Lord of the Rings. Yet there were no moments in the entire trilogy that warranted a sin retraction, yet there are 4 moments in this film you hate that have warranted sin retractions? Man, I really don't get it.
And 100, 200, 300, 400. Oh, with all this, that's $82,400!
Which you would know already because you had to go to the cashier to change out your chips and they would have told you the amount there.
No sin for Stu counting the money himself. I think that's a believable reaction.
I understand the relief, and there is a bag over his head, but even disregarding clothing, Mike Epps is 6 foot motherfucking 2, and Justin Bartha is 5'8". That is definitely enough of a difference to notice that this ain't the right guy.
Maybe. But no, actually no, because of that big white bag on his head, as you showed. Oops. Yeah, no, because that big bag can alter perception, I think.
You know him?
Yeah, this is the guy that sold me the bad drugs. Hi.
So the liquor store guy who sold Alan the drugs, who just happens to be named Doug, somehow got mixed up in their night in Vegas? How did he enter himself into the equation? Nobody invited him, right?
So you've forgotten the plot again, because in a scene that's about to come up, Black Doug will tell Alan that he was with them at the Bellagio, clearly invited by Alan. Pay attention.
Roofling, there you go with that word, roofling.
Yeah, I don't understand why they use that word either. The name is Rohypnol. I guess you wanted to have your easy connection to roofies and the big revelation about Doug being on the roof here in a minute, but we still could have gotten there without changing the actual name of the drug.
Is it a sin for characters to be wrong? No point. Also, you skipped over this scene.
Hey, but why? I mean, why you? Because he thought I was with you guys because we were all hanging over at the Bellagio.
What? We were at the Bellagio?
Yeah, we were shooting craps, you don't remember?
More deceptive editing.
And there's nothing more fun for me than slowing down a movie during a scene like this to show not Bradley Cooper getting tackled by not Ed Helms. It's not a real mistake or anything, you'd never notice this at normal speed, but I'm sinning it anyway because I was raised right.
So I guess, I think I'll give this to you. So you're now 8 for 116. I guess this is the sort of sin you were attempting to do in The Two Towers when you lied about Gimli. You tried to say that random Rohirrim in the background was Gimli, trying to point out it was I think you were attempting to say that it was a stunt double, but clearly it wasn't because you were not actually watching the movie properly. But this time you got it right. So yes, you can have this point.
You remember when we saw Doug's mattress impaled on that statue?
Yeah, it's because we threw it out the window.
No, impossible. You can't open windows in Vegas Hotel.
Stu lays out the whole reason why Doug is probably on the roof. The kind of reasoning that surely would have hit Caesar's staff as they pried the mattress off the statue. Can't open windows in a Vegas hotel room. Somebody would have had to have been like, did he throw it off the roof? And someone would have checked the roof. And even if they didn't want to check the roof because of that, surely someone went to the roof in the last 24 goddamn hours.
How common do hotel staff check out the roof? Maybe? This is another maybe. It's a strong maybe, I think I might give it to you though. So yeah, you're 9 for 117. Well done.
We can't drive there. The wedding starts in 3.5 hours.
You know what? We can drive there. We can make it.
How would Phil not know this? It would be close, but 3.5 hours is totally doable. And he's the risk taker, right? I feel like these characters just flip roles from scene to scene just to keep them interested.
Nah, no points. Is there something wrong with Stu developing as a character? I wouldn't say characters are flipping roles, it's more Stu is developing and growing and he's not being so weak and not letting himself be pushed around so much. I'm not sure that's a sin. Is character development a sin? I'm not sure you want to say yes to that.
Listen, Jade,
Not wanting to be married to Heather Graham anymore.
So now you acknowledge Heather Graham's character, but not earlier when you said there were no likable women with agency in the movie. Also, are you going to retract your comments about Todd Phillips hating women?
Holy talk about a hooker with a heart of solid gold. This poor woman's been married, then abandoned, then used for a blackjack ruse, abandoned again, and was implicitly asked for the wedding ring back. And she's cool with all that.
Yes, it's almost as if she were a likable character. No sin.
Damn, that went off without a hitch. Has the tuck shop delivered at high rates of speed between Vegas and LA before? Because this handoff has the precision of Jack getting off the bus in speed.
Well, if you were paying attention, the Tux guide knows Alan, and it's reasonable that this was a favor and not a standard type of delivery, so no sin.
Sorry, MapQuest took us on a really crazy route.
MapQuest.
I'm not sure what MapQuest is. Is MapQuest not allowed to be spoken of? No sin.
Can you forgive me?
Husband and wife.
She does. She does.
Yes, their love is stronger than some sunburn and a late arrival. That is not a sin.
I think I'd normally give a sin off for the Dan band because they're hilarious, but geez, we saw this in old school, and that's always going to be the appearance we love. But mainly, why would anybody hire this band for their wedding? Especially someone like Tracy, who seems to be one of the saner characters in this movie.
Doug could have influenced the decision, or maybe Tracy really likes them. Is it a sin for a character to have more complex tastes in entertainment? And because look here, as you showed, look, she's pretty happy to be dancing along. I don't think that's a sin at all.
I know Phil said he was married, but this being the first time we've actually seen his wife and kid is really f***ed up.
Yes, no sin because that's the point.
Also, are we supposed to believe that Phil's learned some big life lesson in this movie? Is he a changed man? He still stole all that field trip money and is still a dick, right? But this movie is making out like he's so thankful to be back and that he's really going to be a changed man after this. I'm not buying it.
No, I don't think that is the point. Phil is still an asshole. There's no implication to him being a changed man. He just greets his wife and son. I assume you're unmarried with no kids, as I'd say this is a standard greeting for couples and a standard greeting between a parent and their child. No sin.
Since you that waiter on your cruise last June, boom!
Told me it was a bartender.
Oh, you're right.
This has been hashed and rehashed 4 times in this movie, and every time Stu's had to correct people on this matter, so I find it hard to believe he didn't remember bartender when it's probably been on his mind for a full year.
I think that's the point of the joke though, so no sin.
Here's the problem with how awesome these stills from the credits are. They would be such a better movie.
Would they? For some reason, I think you'd still have the same style of complaints. As the early scenes would be unchanged, right? So you'd still be complaining about Trump Tower, the Dr. F-slur joke, and inventing the notion that Todd Phillips hates women. So no, I don't think you would really love the story that the photos tell in movie form.
Carrot Top, easy sin.
A photo of a ginger, no sin. Yes, I'm aware he's a comedian.
I know Alan is dumb, but Phil asked if the reason for him going to the hospital was in these pictures, and there was no evidence of what happened at all. There was a fight with Wayne Newton, but it looks like Stu was the one fighting.
Either, as you say, Alan is stupid and got it wrong, or pictures of what happened just did not make the final cut. Are we to believe these were all the photos taken?
Then there's no evidence of how they ended up at Mike Tyson's place. They were on top of the roof at Caesars, then, like magic, they were at his house.
So that's because the photos are out of sequence, as they have the cop car in the photos at Mike Tyson's, and also the final pictures shown are of Stu's wedding, with Doug being awake. Yet we previously saw him asleep on the roof. And here right now, again after Doug supposedly being asleep on the roof, he's here at Mike Tyson's. So I'm not sure, is it a sin for the photos to be shown out of sequence? I would say no. I could understand someone wanting them to be in sequence, but I'm not going to give it a point. So that's it. You were 9 for 131, which is a better ratio than Lord of the Rings, and you never blatantly lied, which is good, though there were a few times you weren't paying attention, and you sometimes used deceptive editing to skip over scenes that would make your previous sins redundant. Now, I said in my Lord of the Rings Cinemasins debunk that it might be a while until I do another Cinemasins video, as I found the Lord of the Rings video by chance. However, I had some lovely comments which inspired me to do more Cinemasins videos, so I've found a few more potentials, and as of recording, I'm not sure if I'll release them all in a row or sprinkle them among my other vids. This was certainly not as punchy as the Lord of the Rings debunk, and I'm not sure how many of the other Cinemasins videos I found will annoy me to that extent. I do not fake my reactions, so if you liked the punchier, insult-heavy style, then hopefully for your sake the other vids I cover will be as full of lies and misconceptions as Lord of the Rings. Though if you prefer this more chilled-out style, you'd be hoping for the reverse, I guess.
See you. Bye bye.
See you, bye bye, じゃねえよ!